they're diving in and looking into this because they're down the road into buying a house. And it's expensive here, for example, in Sonoma County, but there's places you can buy up the river and out beyond the city where maybe you might qualify for one of these. It's kind of exciting because we've got people that don't know about this and everybody's complaining about affordable housing. There might be a little bit of help here. How do you get help for buying a home? Like help for the down payment. It's out there. It's actually easier than you think. And today I have Rebecca Pierce with me here again on my show talking about getting help for buying a house. You know, sometimes people just don't have the down payment, but they got great credit. They really want to buy a house. And we introduce some new ideas to people. So I'm going to let you run with this and tell people all about helping programs. People that can, programs that can get them a house maybe when they didn't think they could.
So there's a couple of just 100% programs available. One of those is a VA. If you're a veteran, then you can qualify for a VA loan. And then there's a USDA loan, which is rural housing. So both of those are 100%. But then we also have assistance for those that are going FHA or conventional. So those are called down payment assistance programs. Every county, every state, all has different ones. For instance, if you needed 3% down payment on a conventional loan or FHA, they will step in. You have to qualify. So you have to have a certain credit score and you have to have a certain debt ratio, but you may qualify for this. And some of these programs are forgiven. That means you never have to pay them back.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to find out about the down payment assistance in your area, wherever you are. And so it's not always first-time home buyers. That's something that was always the case before. They had to be a first-time home buyer. And a first-time home buyer is anyone who has not owned a property in 3 years. So you could have owned a house and sold it and went and rented for a few years, and then all of a sudden you're a first-time home buyer again.
Interesting.
But you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to get some of these programs.
In the literal sense, like you never owned a house before.
Right. Or if you have owned in the last year or you own now, there are still down payment assistance programs that are available for you too.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know where to start with this. Let's start with the VA loan. Should we be breaking out like each kind of loan? What's the easiest way to approach this?
Well, a VA loan is 100%.
So someone served in our military.
Yes.
And they don't have to come up with $30,000 for a house.
No, they don't.
And the seller of a home has to deliver them a home that's in dang near perfect shape, right? There's qualifications for the seller too. So the seller has to fix it up and follow the rules, and then they can sell their house to a former military person.
Yes.
Okay.
So a termite inspection is required on a VA loan. So some sellers will take care of the items that are on a pest inspection. And if you can get a seller to do that, a seller will accept a VA loan. It had a bad stigma years ago because the seller had to pay even more cost, but it's not like that anymore. So now sellers are willing to step in and help the veterans purchase a home.
Yeah, a lot of people are very excited about that. And what's a pest inspection? I mean, they're more than happy to help out our awesome military folks. So, that all seems to pretty much always work out in one way or another. Can you do this when you're active duty or just after you've got out of the military?
It depends. It depends on your eligibility. So it comes back. We get an eligibility from the VA veteran that says what their eligibility is. And each veteran can look to see if they're eligible. If they're in full-time service, then yes, they can get a loan.
Okay. And they don't have to have a down payment?
No down payment. Okay. And a seller can help them pay their closing cost, which we've talked about in other videos.
Yes.
So on a VA loan, the sellers can pay up to 6% of that loan amount and their closing cost.
Wow.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's really amazing. I hope you're taking notes, Mr. Former soldier, sailor, airman, Coast Guard, Army. It's great to get a VA loan. Is it a little bit more time consuming working with the lender and preparing and what have you to get a VA loan, or not so much?
Not so much anymore.
Okay,
They've really streamlined it and can make it really easy for a veteran. Yes.
good. Good. All right. So we got the VA, and then we have the USDA loan, which I've never worked with people that got one, but it's really cool because that too is 100%. They don't have to come up with a down payment. This is the U.S. Department of Agriculture gives out home loans or assistance to home loans.
Right.
Home
And it's
purchase.
mostly meant for rural. It's rural areas.
Right. So you can get on the USDA website and it shows you put in your zip code.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's outside the city. It's usually not smack dab in the middle of the city, but it's worth looking into.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Any other things about the USDA? Is that a difficult process, or is that kind of streamlined too? Elaborate on that.
It's a little bit longer process because our underwriters, any of the lenders, we have underwriting privileges. However, USDA has to put the final stamp on the approval. So there is a few extra days that they have to go in and do that.
So I keep saying loan, but this is actually down payment assistance.
No, USDA is a loan, 100% loan.
100% loan. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So I want to separate that because I think maybe I confuse things. So we're talking about loans and down payment, or like
Right.
clarify that so that I didn't mess people up.
Okay. So you get a loan for 100% on a VA and USDA. FHA is 3.5% down, and conventional is as little as 3% down. And
So
then
they have to put down earnest money or deposit, and then that gets wrapped back into it.
On the
Okay.
100%, yes.
On the 100%, okay. So you have to have a little bit of cash to put down at the escrow company once your offer gets accepted by the seller. You got to run over to the title company and show the money, because that's what makes the seller know you're serious, and that opens the escrow buying process. So you have to have a little bit of cash. What, 3,000? 3% still has to be 3% of the offer price.
No, doesn't have to be.
It'd be $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to show some money in the process of making an offer.
Right.
So you put your little $1,000 down. Let's just make it up, and then you're going to get 100% loan. So you don't have a mortgage payment.
You have mortgage payment. You don't have any down payment.
You don't have any down payment, so they don't have to come up with $30,000 down.
That's right. That's
okay. Right. But they'll have a little mortgage payment.
Right.
And before we get to all this, they will have cleared up their credit, worked with you, and maybe some other things. But they're diving in and looking into this because they're down the road into buying a house. And it's expensive here, for example, in Sonoma County, but there's places you can buy up at the river and out beyond the city where maybe you might qualify for one of these, right?
Very welcome. Yes.
Okay. All right. So then we have FHA and conventional loans.
Yes.
Which are the most talked about loans, right? They're the most
yes.
common. Yes. So dive in. So talk about the FHA loan. Fannie Mae is its nickname. It's kind of funny. I don't know who invented that, but so there's Fannie Mae loan, right?
No, a little bit different, but that's pretty close. So we have FHA, which is a government loan.
Okay.
And then conventional, which is Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac.
Oh, yeah. I always get those right. So, okay. So FHA is a government loan.
Yes.
But conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Okay. We'll divide them out. So we'll start with the FHA.
Okay.
A government loan is a very common, you only have to come up with 3% down. You don't have to come up with the 20% down, right?
It's 3.5% down.
3.5%. I mean, okay. Yes. Right. I was thinking of the down payment or the initial deposit. Okay, so keep going. I want to hear about this.
So you can put the 3.5% down, or if you don't have that, that's where you can get down payment assistance through
Uh-huh.
one of these programs that can help you with that 3.5% down. So you have a first mortgage FHA with a second mortgage down payment assistance. And the second mortgage can be forgiven after you've lived in the house. In some programs, 3 years or 5 years. It's just
Ah,
forgiven. So
it
you have
just
that.
falls away like you don't owe the money anymore?
Yes. But if you go to refinance, there's a proration, then you just have to pay the lower amount, whatever's left. So they
Ah,
amortize it like over 5 years. Each 5 years,
right.
they take a fifth off of it. So an FHA and conventional both can get the down payment assistance. So you can get up to 5% down payment assistance for the conventional loans, or 3% or 4% for the FHAs, depending on the program in your county. It all depends on where you're purchasing and what's available.
Okay, so these are county programs.
Yes, or state, and then some of them are even national. So there's a variety of different ones.
Okay, so when you say 5%, is that 5% of what your down payment needs to be, or what's that number mean?
Yeah, 5% of the purchase price.
Of the purchase price.
Yes, it all
Okay.
depends on the limits in the county as well. So there's going to be a purchase limit. So the high end
Ah,
buyers will not be getting a down payment assistance. This is to help that first time home buyer world get into their first home.
okay. So some of the rules of the game are that that they can only buy up to a certain amount of house, so a $600,000 house or what have you.
Yes,
So maybe this is more applicable. Is it happening in Sonoma County here?
it is.
It
It is.
is more? Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So the limits are reasonable. They keep up with the market.
They do. Yes.
Okay. So they're going to buy a house in Rohnert Park and it's an $800,000, $700,000 house. They can get in with that.
Each
The
program
county
is
will,
different. Yeah, each
okay.
program
Yeah,
is
yeah,
different. So I would find out what their scores are, what their debt to income
yeah.
ratios are, what the limits
Right.
are in the county. So there's
Okay.
quite a few things that we check to make sure. But if they meet all the criteria, they can get assistance.
Okay. Okay. Which isn't difficult from what I hear from you. You just kind of need to go down the checkoff list and go, okay, this is going to work for them.
That's right. So the point is, if they don't have a down payment, still
Yeah.
check into it. Maybe they can purchase with this assistance. If they have income, they have good credit, let's see where they are. So I want them to get all their ducks in a row. Like, you
Right.
call and find out, where am I? And I'll help you to find what's missing. What will it take to get you approved? And right now, it's the down payment assistance we're talking about.
Right, right. So it's kind of exciting because we've got people that don't know about this and everybody's complaining about affordable housing and there might be a little bit of help here on the
Yes,
way.
yes.
Yeah, and most people won't go to the work. And you actually do a lot of the footwork for them, right?
Oh,
They answer
absolutely.
some questions for you and you come up with the answers.
That's right. I just had one yesterday.
Tell me
And
about it.
yeah, so he
Yeah.
has a 620 credit score, and
Uh-huh.
which is not horrible, but it's not as good as we'd like to see it. But
Right.
even with that 620 credit score, he's got a good job. He's been with it for 7 years. He is going to qualify for one of the down payment assistance. And that's
Amazing.
where he's getting his down payment from.
In what county?
This is in Calaveras County.
Calaveras County,
That's
California.
where
All
he's
right.
located. Right.
Okay, so it's really great to hear this because people think that it's kind of a lost cause if they don't make enough money here in Sonoma County, and we need to kind of go down these roads sometimes to figure out. And you might not even have to come up with a down payment. Do they ever have to pay back the down payment, or tell me about
Yes.
that?
Some programs, it just depends on what they qualify for. So we're going to,
Okay,
of course, look for them a program that is a soft second. That means it's forgiven. And so we'll look at those programs first. But if not, maybe it's a hard second. And that means that they're going to pay it back over time.
is that payback incorporated in their mortgage payment?
There's no, most of the time there's no mortgage payment on these down payment assistance.
Oh,
Yes.
no mortgage payment.
Right. It's
Well,
just
so
like,
when you go to sell the house, are there tricky things they need to know?
well, it could be that that just needs to be paid off and then it goes right back into the program that they got it from to begin with, or
Interesting.
it's forgiven and then they never have to pay it after 5 years. So there's many different programs.
Taxpayers' money go into a very good cause. Somehow, I don't know what taxpayers' pot of money that comes out of, but it's really cool. I mean, it's really important. I mean, here in this country, we want people to get houses, and there's assistance sometimes. You might have to qualify a little bit, but there's help, and it's really, really a great thing. Any other programs? Are those the main four? Let's just say.
Those are the main ones.
Those are the main ones. Okay, so it's great news, Rebecca. You're always full of the best information. I appreciate it. Out there in her mountain house in East California. It's great. So we're going to have you back. We'll have you on another show here, and we'll talk about the next great subject. And the next video is coming up right here. So if you like this video and you want to see one every Friday, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button.